bag of balloons with the money we've got. Set them free at the break of dawn. Till one by one they were gone. Back at base, bugs in the software. Flash the message, something's out there. Floating in the summer sky. 99 red balloons go by. It's red alert. There's something here from somewhere else. The war machine, it springs to life. Opens up one eager eye, focusing it on the sky. With 99 red balloons, take on me. Take me on. I'll be gone in a day or two. Oh, the things that you say. Is it life or just to play my worries away? You're all the things I've got to remember. Shying away, I'll be coming for you anyway. Take on me. Take me on. I'll be gone in a day or two. This is what we've waited for. This is it, boys. This is war. The president is on the line. It's 99 red balloons. Take on me. Take me on. I'll be gone. Take on me. Take me on. I'll be gone in a day or two. In a day or
Introducing hashtag Team Yahawashai, your portal to becoming actual reality witnesses. Only on the Yahawashai News Network.
We are going to burst your bubble tonight if you believe in any of these psyops. How are you doing, brother?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me on. Thanks everyone for tuning in the chat too. Good to see you all.
Yeah, so this topic here, the spy balloons, it's starting to age a little bit, and we haven't covered it yet. So we decided to, it's a Wednesday night, but we want to cover this whole spy balloon bonanza, UFO, all these types of things, and put our perspective on it, because we've covered this topic before. It wasn't that long ago that we were covering high altitude balloons when we were dealing with pressure. So let's hear what you got to say about it, brother.
Well, I mean, great job on the new stinger with Millie Weaver. And if you don't know, everybody, Jason used Susan Wojcicki's voice on that. Hopefully Susan and Millie don't mind us collaborating with their creations to bring that to you guys. I thought that was well done, brother. I thought it was pretty funny how you utilized our rectangle comedy skits. But no, I'm feeling great. I went through a little bit of a downtime here in the last week. It's been a long time since I didn't feel great. but we're back and we're moving forward. Friday morning is going to be a great podcast. Lots of news, lots of new music. So tonight, quick update: all 4 songs are all going to have balloon-centric songs. They're all dealing with balloons. We try to, thanks to our Estonian magician connection, we always try to have content with music that matches the content as well. So we know that the whole balloon stuff has been a huge distraction, right? We've been following this. Everybody knows the Epstein client list has been released. We're going to be going into that more on Friday. But we've got these balloons. They were launched above the United States, so they've always had these balloons. The balloon topic, it goes back for me. I'm going to stop my rant soon. But it went back to Planetas Veritas was a channel that I did some work with. He was down in South America, and he started really tracking how much NASA balloons were actually being used, and how the ones they were using for types of spy stuff were black, because once the balloon gets up past 40, 50,000 feet, everything's black. So you can't see the actual balloons that they're using for reconning stuff. But what we have here is this crazy balloon psyop. The whole realm is just balloon crazy. They're everywhere. China, Canada, they were in South America. So pretty much I'm excited tonight to go through the debunks of what their psyops really been against and what they're showing you that it can't be true. So I'm excited.
Yeah, so tonight we're going to be going through some practical ways that you yourself can debunk what's taking place in the media just with some practical knowledge. So once you understand what temperatures are at what elevations, what pressures are at what elevations, how high can we go, how far can we see, these are topics that we continue to bang on. And it's super relevant because they're psyoping people with this idea that you would be able to see something 60,000 feet high the way they're presenting it. And so we're going to go through all the different clips, and we're going to show people the different ways that you can debunk it, just off of common sense, off of practical knowledge, right?
Yeah, that's the thing is, anything that's usually right and good is simple, right? And we like to keep things as simple as possible because that's what we are. We're just simple guys. We're just carpenters. We're out here just trying to share truth with everybody. We got this ability to bring in new music and to put some graphics together. And we try to do it in a truthful way. Maybe we'll be able to do some more Wednesday podcasts moving forward. I like that. We'll see what the news is, really. Mm-hmm. We have to have the news. Maybe we could do an in-depth study into the Epstein client list next Wednesday. We could look into that a little deeper and put some light on that. We don't know. We're going to always constantly look for, new stuff to share. We want to always bring out new stuff. So I don't know if you want to...
That's the thing that sort of surprised me, is that this... So that we had the first balloon, and we had, the shoot down and all the attention on it. And now all of a sudden it's just one after another. And I think we're 4 or 5 deep right now with a whole bunch of reports of many, many more. And now the talk has gone into UFOs, into objects. They call them objects. Like they can't even put a word to it. It's not a balloon. It's not an airplane. Some people call it octagonal. We're gonna see a whole bunch in rods and the ether. These are all the
those are scrolls, bro. That's a scroll in the sky, they're saying, right? Getting ready to be opened.
These are all the buzzwords that we're hearing. And I was surprised to see that this topic persisted, right? And that there was more and more of it. So we've been talking about how at a certain point, what the New World Order is trying to do is have psyops in place to be able to have cover story for what's actually taking place during the Great Tribulation. And yeah, you mentioned the scrolls, how, people are going to liken these rods that they're showing videos of, CGI of, to being biblical and things like that. So I keep on getting excited that as this news rolls out, it appears that we're getting closer and closer to, something real. Like, these are all false New Order narratives, but they're setting up for something.
Yeah, we know that they generally do things on a long-term scale, right? It's the long con. If you watch Lost, it's not the quick con. Their moves are always, not just one family, or one generation, but 3, 4, 5 generations deep. We're talking hundreds of years. These things have been planned, and only since the advent or the invention and the bring forth of the technology that they have now are we even able to have these types of situations. They've had, let's talk about the balloons here. They have had the balloon stuff going on for like 80, 70 years, right? They were launching balloons way
Long
before
before
they
airplanes, right?
went to the so-called moon. They were doing these balloons. They know, and a big echo. Jason must not be muting. That's fine. Thank you, YD. He's getting better at that. You got to always constantly remember. But so what we know is they can actually retrieve the balloons without having to blow them up, right? Or crash them. They have planes. They've been doing it for like 60 years. It has a hook that comes out the back of it. They just cruise at the right altitude and they just hook onto the balloon and then they retrieve it into the back. The plane opens up. You guys have all seen these planes. They just suck the balloon in and the payload. They don't usually destroy the stuff that they send up there. So the whole entire thing that they've done here with this balloon has just been such a joke to me, or any researcher that knows what they've been doing with these balloons for years. NASA's been doing this. Elon Musk, Google Loon Project has been doing this. I remember, Jason, someone had used Google Loon Project to you as a defense of the globe being real, right?
My dad, when I was
I didn't want to dime him out.
Oh yeah, I'll dime him out. When I was showing him all the evidence that Earth was a plane and that it's fixed, immovable, the Bible's correct, all this kind of stuff, his retort was Project Loon. That was his entire Project Loon. That was his response to everything. Project Loon.
Yeah, it's sad. It is sad. We can pray for people and we can share the truth. Actually, that's what we choose to do. We choose to just share the truth and to let be what be. But thank you guys for tuning in. I guess we are going to do, a song break and then we'll get into the content. Whatever it is that you're prepared.
Yeah, let's check out this song and then we'll come back to some of your content, brother. Let's go.
Okay, cool. Let's do this.
Found your lovers in this world. Hope I find my love tonight. Don't tell me who I will find. Keeping my distance, making my entrance. Fresh like just not she could just be you, not a god. I ain't come to one piece walking out now. Girl, just make me dance to you, 'cause I can't find a way back in love. Flying above, like a balloon, can't decide who I will find. Hope tonight somebody will pull me down deep. I'm lost above, 풍선처럼. Dun 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 dun. I wanna see spotlights. I just wanna dive, yeah. It's been so long since I've been the host in my life. Bring me down, babe. Don't you get your man? She could just be you, not a god. I didn't come to one piece walking out now. Girl, just make me dance to you, 'cause I can't find a way back in love. Flying above, like a balloon, can't decide who I will find. Hope tonight somebody will pull me down deep. I'm lost above, 풍선처럼. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Night has gone, what comes next? I'm still up in the air all alone, yeah. Let this go, hold my past. Maybe I'm just good without your love. Somebody will
And we are back. That was fantastic. We'll get Ronnie set up to share some stuff with us. He's got some tweets and tabs he wants to share with us. And then I've got a bunch of tabs, so I was just collecting tabs for, since this balloon thing started. Oh.
Sorry. Yeah, you took it back somehow. Like that background track right there. Let's get into this. Here we go.
All right. You are presented, brother.
Okay, so let's get into this. Let's go through the, excuse me, what happened here and what we've seen so far. Here's the timeline of, they call this UFO events. So we had February 2nd, boom. We had the first Chinese, they say it was a Chinese spy balloon spotted, right? February 4th, boom, Chinese spy balloon shot down, right? February 10th, UFO seen over Alaska now. Now we're starting to get UFOs talking, not spy balloons, but just UFOs. February 11th, again, UFO shot over Canada. This was Lake Huron, right? February 12th, UFO appears over China, right? So China now has a balloon in their territories. February 12th, UFO shot over Lake Huron. Oh, wait, these are different ones. This UFO shot over Canada. I thought this was in Detroit. If I wasn't correct, maybe I was wrong. My volume is really low, Jason. I don't know what he's got it at on his end. He's got to work on that as we go through here. Continue to give us the 5x5s, please, YD, in the chat. We always appreciate your help.
I don't keep speaking.
Yeah, testing. So yeah, everybody, again, this is the list of what we've been through. Okay, now it's the 15th. I don't know if we've got more balloon talk going on today, but this is what we've seen. Again, it started off with they started right away calling it a Chinese spy balloon, right? And then they shot it down over South Carolina's water there. And then on the 10th, they started talking about more things, but they weren't calling them balloons anymore. They were calling them unidentified flying objects. And then we had another one on the 11th. Then we had another one on the 12th. Is the sound fixed, YD? I don't know. But then we have here, again, on the 2 on the 12th. The boom, they shot it down over Lake Huron. Justin Trudeau is apparently getting reamed out about that. We'll go into that more detailed later this week. So this is the setup of what we've been through over these balloons here. So we're 2 weeks late on this. Usually we cover things breaking or pre when they break them, but this is where we're at. Hopefully the volume is good. We haven't got a check back, but I'm going to keep moving on here. Did you have any comments about this order of the list?
Well, no, I think it's helpful. I think it's helpful that you have a list like this because, it started popping off and it's sort of hard to remember what's what, right?
Yeah, she's saying that you've got to continue to go into the advanced audio properties and turn up my mic or your screen share.
I did. I doubled it.
What? You should be able to see the red when it's just peeking into the red. If you see that, it's fine.
Yeah, but it's not. I'm going to have to take it
if it's not peeking
into. Are you sure you've got it all the way up? Because I'm going.
My mic is where it needs to be. I don't know if did that make it louder? Maybe. Do you want me to unscreen share, go into my settings and see if I've got it turned down or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm up over 10 dBs now, but
thumbnail or what? Yeah, I have to run my audio, desktop audio. I run it around 10.
Okay.
Yeah, am I hitting the red?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes. So then it's good now. Okay, I can keep going. So continue. So you're liking the list. You're happy to see it. It puts it in front of our faces what we've seen in an order. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you have anything else to comment about it?
No, I'm just working on your sound.
Okay, great. I'll keep going here. So this next one here, so then we get, there's no camera on this, so let's take a look. This is the first images that we got from this so-called Chinese spy balloon that they decided to spy on us using a white balloon. They're not going to use one that's blue, the same color as the sky, so you can't see it. Nah, they're going to make it white, right? Stupid. Okay, let's go back up to what this person's saying here. There's no camera. It doesn't have a LiDAR, so it can't do any ground penetrating thing or anything like that or pick up stuff. And it doesn't have any satellites on it for communications, right? There's no dishes. We're not seeing anything like that. Now, maybe, I don't know. As far as what I can tell, this just looks like a hoax. The whole entire thing was a joke right from the jump. It says, you really think that they let a foreign spy device fly across the United States and then apparently shoot it down over the ocean for safety reasons? Right? Come on. It's stupid what we were told. The whole entire narrative was ridiculous, right? Jay?
Yeah, no, I've just been working on stuff. You can keep going.
It's ridiculous, right? I know you're probably going to agree. So I'll keep going down the list here of what we got here. And then we get, so boom, Biden comes out and orders them to shoot it down Biden orders fighter jets just to protect, Biden had ordered fighter jets not to fire on the state of Montana, but to protect the Chinese spy balloon. That's what started it off. And people were like, what? So they were staying close to it and protecting it, it says, to protect the Chinese spy balloon. Now we moved on later into the week. This lady came out and said that she had filmed this above her house. Something got blew up in her sky. She put this out. Yeah. 7-7 and a bunch of shills covered it, right?
Yeah, this was going on with that original shoot down, and then like it was mid-afternoon, all of a sudden this was being released. It was the type of stuff that like Dabu was covering, and
it's green.
Yeah, everybody was sharing the same clip. There was supposed to be like some sort of a flash or an explosion in the sky, and people were acting like we were paying attention to it because this was in a time period where we were really expecting the New World Order to pull off the EMP that they've been talking about, setting up for so much. There was a whole bunch of talk about this, and then everybody was sharing this clip, and so I was wondering that day whether or not they were going to shut down the power on the East Coast.
Yeah. We've been watching that for sure, right? That's what we've been keeping our eye on. Those are all good points there. Let's move on. Excuse me. This one here, now we've got this lady. Okay, so we're going to get into talking about more videos coming out, she says, or he says. This is the Chinese high-altitude surveillance balloon was seen over Billings, Montana yesterday. So we're back into Montana when it was first seen. The size of the balloon is 3 buses wide, and it has been flying over the northern U.S., they say, for days. Right, so here we go. Here's the footage. This is her, or him. I think it's a woman. So she got the moon. I'm assuming this is from a cell phone. I don't know for sure what camera she used. And so she's able to pick up this 3 bus-sized balloon in the sky, right?
There's that.
He zooms in on it pretty clear. Look at that, right? Everyone can see here. You can even see there's a little payload under it you could sort of make out from our cell phone footage. Is that correct?
That's what they tried to propose, but that's where the debunking of this begins.
She's asking what planet it was, or just Psyop nation. So somebody
it's Jupiter,
in Montana. This is back on February 2nd. This was posted. Was able to zoom in with their cell phone here on the balloon. Okay, I'm just going to leave that in your consciousness for now. Jason's going to be dealing with this topic more in depth. Let's keep going on here. So here's the path that the DOD says that the balloon took. So apparently, what is this? This is Russia, and then it's going to come down through here. This is the Bering Strait, right? This is kind of a confusing map. Yeah, right here. No, here's the Bering Strait. Excuse me. So it flew down. I guess is this China?
China.
Down here.
China.
The balloon flew down here and came across through the Bering Strait, down through Alaska, over top of Canada here, through Vancouver area, and then boom, and then it entered into the U.S. here. And then it traveled from here down to about here, and they blew it up right out here. Is that correct? Or here down more?
That is the story.
Like right out here. So this is the story that we got. I don't know what this graph is. Yeah, the graph is showing its dates as it supposedly moves. So they tracked it the whole way through, apparently. I wonder if they let it off here, the Americans, or something. I don't know. But so this was the path. And then we're moving on to this link. Now we've got the destruction. So I'm assuming, again, this is all being filmed with cell phones. I don't know, but let's watch. Here we go. Here is the, what did they call this thing? The Sidewinder missile, they're saying, that they used to blow this thing up. Here it goes. Watch. If you haven't seen it, I'm sure you've seen it, unless you've been hiding under a balloon. Boom. There it goes. Right? Let's see that again. Boom. So they shredded it.
You're supposed to be able to see the payload falling, the gases being released into the air. That's helium, right?
Yeah, I don't think it would have that.
It's 60,000 feet in the air.
Yeah, this is 60,000 feet, by the way, letting everybody know. So, as you can see here, the missile comes in. Can you even see the missile? I don't even think you can.
No, I'm surprised they don't show it, right?
You know, it's weird. The impact doesn't even look like it hits the balloon. Looks like it hits down here. But anyway, so this is it. That's what we saw. Boom. This thing falls. Right? And remember, I told you guys they can actually retrieve these things. They've been doing it for like 60 years. It's not hard for them to retrieve a balloon. They do it all the time with almost every balloon they send up. So that's it. That's that. We'll keep going here. We got a few more. So then we get breaking. This is back on February 12th now. An unidentified object has been detected over Lake Huron, right, between Michigan and Ontario. Get the tags here. UFO, UFO, UFO. Like, they are really pushing the UFO nonsense. And it's got to be a distractionary thing. But so we had that happen. And then we move on here. Breaking. Pentagon confirms now that there's a second Chinese spy balloon above the United States. So this was back on the 3rd. We're jumping back. So the whole entire time they've had, it's almost like when they do their shooting hoaxes, they have multiple shooters every time. And it gets, so what happens is there's so many different balloons going so many different places that everybody's just confused, right? It's just a stupid ass, lower, weaker ass magic trick that I can see they've written into this fabric of this hoax. They're using the multiple balloon thing, right? So there's also ones in Canada. There was spotted in Canada, right? Or maybe that was the one they shot down over Lake Huron. But so they've used the multiple balloon hoax thing where they multiple shooters, right? We don't know which one. And it always ends up one that gets shot in the neck, can't talk, or they kill the shooter, right? Well, they ended up killing the balloon. But so this is interesting. We move on now to this article here on February 12th, 2023. It says a statement on today's actions by North American Aerospace Defense Command. These people are being honored, praised. It's like when I see a hoax and then they say, great job to all the cops and firemen and FBI and all these special investigators that just happened to be in the neighborhood when the shooting went down. We're so safe with like, so they want everybody to now worship the aerospace defense, which is retarded because if this was real, they've all failed. But anyways, the interesting thing here that we get out of this article, we're just going to zip down here and it says that it was an F-16 fired. So that's the Sidewinder AIM-9X successfully shot down the airborne object. And so this one was in Huron, right? And it says here that the object was only 20,000 feet.
Ooh, that's a big difference between 20 and 60.
Huge difference. That's
20
high altitude now.
No, 20,000 is now below where most airplanes fly.
Commercial airliner lanes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those typically fly in the 30 to 35,000 range. You know, there's some long range flights that go even higher, 40 to 45, but 20,000 is actually below where even like a little puddle jump is. Like a 1 hour flight, they will probably go up to 24 or 26,000 feet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I find it interesting too that the one that happened to be in Canada, then it's into the no flight. So apparently, I haven't gone into this in depth, but I think you're allowed to fly planes, balloons. You're allowed to fly them over different countries. I don't think it's illegal, but I do think it's illegal to go below the high altitude. Right. So this one here, go figure, ended up being way too low. And they're pointing that out, that it's a hazard to civilian aviation. So the Canadian one, they had to shoot down. Right. But the American one, as you can see, they let it fly across the country, supposedly because it was at 60,000 feet. But again, I bring back to your attention, it was right here. This one, this is 60,000 feet. I don't know if this is a cell phone. I don't know what it is that's filming here. We don't get anything in the comments telling us what it was. We get lots of people making fun of Biden, throwing balloons at him. Yeah. This is what we get on Twitter, like the comments of the comments. So here's somebody else filming it. Look. Oh no, this is a skit.
Delivery complete. It's a go.
It's a go.
Eagle 1.
There they go. They're going to shoot it down. Engage. Sidewinder away. Nominal.
This is it.
This is it. It's retarded. So who shot this? Who filmed this? But it's the one that we got here. So apparently, right? So we have to believe that this is 60,000 feet, and that was so now we have the F-17, right? This is the F-17 that they're saying shot this down.
I think 16.
Is it a 16?
I think so.
It's abilities to fly within. It can go 60,000 feet.
I don't know about the F-16.
Them for spy planes then.
Yeah, so the F-22 is the one that they were originally saying that they used. And that one they say they have a higher ceiling on, but I've got some tabs where we're going to go through and sort of do some debunks of the F-22 flying as high as they said it did.
Okay, so we'll continue on here. We don't have much more to go through, but so we get the, all the CIA and CNNs and Fox News 666 is coming out with their take on what's going on, and you get this kind of stuff being said.
An aerial object shot out of the sky by U.S. fighter planes, this
Is it too
time
loud?
over Michigan's Lake Huron. Good evening. I'm
Is it peaking your volume out, or is it okay?
It seems all right.
John
Okay, I'll let it go.
Scott. The U.S. military confirms now that it shot down an aerial object today. The Lake Huron takedown is the third over North America in as many days, and the fourth since last Saturday.
So there's just so many balloons. They're just shooting these things down out of everywhere. It would lead you to believe that they were at war, right? So there's this going on, plus all the train derailments. I just want to bring that up.
A U.S. official says the object was first detected over Montana yesterday, and that President Biden gave the orders to shoot it down. We're awaiting a press conference from the Pentagon. We will bring that to you live.
There's no footage of that one.
When it begins, expected about 15 minutes from now.
I haven't seen any footage of. Have you seen any footage of anything else other than the first one being shot down?
No, I haven't.
No evidence. Okay, we haven't seen any evidence of that. So now there's a bunch of balloons. This guy was saying 1, 2, 3. They're tracking 3 here. This was the 12th. This was only 3 days ago, right? So they are still ramping up the narrative. And then we get onto this one here. And today, the high altitude object was detected in the U.S. airspace. They're like begging, we will continue to work with the U.S. and NORAD to protect North America. So what we want to point out here, we're never in danger. These balloons aren't going to hurt anybody. North America has never been attacked. Wake up, people. Pearl Harbor was an absolute hoax. They had models. They blew up models and they sunk some old ships, right? They filmed it from 30 different planes, including the Japanese planes who, they sold or gave the footage to America of them supposedly attacking Pearl Harbor. It was a hoax, okay? We've gone over it extensively. The planes in the videos didn't even have props, okay? It's ridiculous. I'm not going to get too deep into that. But
No props matter, right?
yes, no props matter. But what we're trying to show you guys is this too is a psyop. And what they're trying to do now is get us all to worship NORAD. Like, no, we're not all going to stand together. You're not keeping people safe. This is a stupid ass Tavistock CIA mind control operation. It's probably the Jesuits that are doing this, but I suspect it's going to lead into more and more stuff leading into World War III ramp up, right? The bad Chinese and this. So what we got here coming off of WND says Chinese balloon could call dry run for EMP attack. So, ladies and gentlemen, EMPs are absolute nonsense. It's not real. It's fantasy make-believe stuff. Like Oppenheimer said he'd become the destroyer of worlds when he invented the fake nuclear weapon. There's not a weapon that's the size of a suitcase that's going to blow up a city. It's retarded. If anyone tells you that, you need to laugh at them. Galen Windsor literally eats the plutonium to show you that it's not even radioactive against us. These types of metals they emanate a sound due to their temperature, right? Because these metals are hot, and the more you refine them, the hotter they get, right? So they're heavier, and you can put them on bullets and shoot through penetrating tanks. So one uranium depleted bullet can penetrate a tank. So EMPs are just as fake as your nukes. They don't have an EMP that's going to take out the power. If the power goes out, they're going to turn it off. So what we're getting is the war hoax, the theater of war being tied into these stupid balloons. If they were a so-called dry run, don't you think that they would have just sent the bomb in first? You don't announce to your enemy that you're going to come to war. You destroy them the night before they thought you were going to come to terms. That's how you go to war. Anything else is just make-believe. So we're going to keep going on that. If you hear any EMP nonsense, go ahead. You can tag us, send us their email, show me the video. I want to talk to anybody who thinks they have evidence of an EMP even existing. So moving on to this link, whenever we have these psyops, what you'll see out of these 666, Fox News, gematria nonsense, is they'll come up with a map. They're going to show you a map. They've got all this, and they're going to get some guy from the FBI. He's going to come on TV, and he's going to explain it all to you. It started here in Prudhoe Bay at the top of Alaska, and moved its way down into the Yukon territory. It's all orchestrated nonsense. When you see them coming out with the maps, the psyop is on. Okay, we're going to continue. We're almost done these links. So this isn't just taking place here. We've got the so-called Chinese spy balloons in Japan. We've got them here. We got them in India being photographed. And then I guess this one might be a joke, or they really have a balloon in the Philippines that looks like this. I don't know. I mean, everything that they do, they run these psyops, and they don't just do it to us. They do it to everybody, but they firewalled off China. So China is the best enemy. They're going to build up China as the bad guy, because we can't talk to the people in China. And everything that we see that comes from China is purposely filmed for us to see. Okay, none of it's real. I don't trust anything unless I'm literally on the ground in China. That's the only way you'll ever get me to agree to anything that's involved with the entire, because if they had not had the firewall up, if I've had Chinese people commenting, no, it's not like this, Ronnie, you're wrong, I would be able to stand on a more correct term, but they've silenced that ability for us to discuss things and talk. That is a huge red flag for me of the greater deception. And we know who owns China, right? We know who owns China. China has the largest in Tel Aviv, right? In Tel Aviv, they own the docking systems there. So
the largest port
is owned by the Israelis, who,
Yeah.
yes, if you don't know, is owned by the Romans. It's the Jesuits that own all this stuff. Don't get that twisted. Let's get through these quick. I'm rambling way
Well,
too much. So, yeah.
before you go, with that thumbnail up, I just want to point out spy balloons. You've mentioned it before, but I just want people to really think about this. All of these white balloons up there, right? White. So if it's at night, you would have a black balloon, right? And since during the day we have a blue sky, what's the most logical choice for a balloon color? Either black or blue, right? You would think that if a spy agency was working on this, somebody would have had the idea, hey, let's make the balloon blue, sky blue, or black, right? Or let's use a clear one. See right through it, right?
Yeah, clear or black would be a smarter choice, or blue.
But instead they use white. They might as well just made it fuchsia, right?
Neon glowing pink.
Right.
So it sparkles like a star at night. Right?
Yeah, polka dot and fluorescent green. I mean, spy balloon, somebody's a genius to make it white like that.
You got to be brain dead to come up with a device that's visible if you're trying to make something invisible. But let's keep going. Good points, brother. Thank you for putting that in there. This is breaking. So now we're going to translate this Chinese. It says an unidentified flying object has been spotted in the waters near the coastal city of Razao in China's Shandong province. So now we've got the same nonsense. This is February 12th here. I don't know if you can see that. They got the same nonsense. So in the China, they're telling the Chinese people that the Americans are now flying spy balloons over China, right? That's what we're getting. We're pointing it out. We're letting everybody see this is being documented. Do you have anything to say about this?
No.
It's just crazy. Yes. And someone had asked, no, we can't. I tried to share FE content about 4 or 5 years ago with as many Chinese channels as I could. I didn't get any response. Now, I did have back in 2014 a video that I shared. It was shared by somebody in China and it went viral, and then they took the video down. So that did happen once. But no, the Chinese internet is completely firewalled off from the rest of the world. That's why they're the perfect bad guy, fake enemy for the Jesuits to use, right? If you don't see it, you need to see it. So now we're moving on to this one. This one says China calls on U.S. to return their so-called spy balloon debris, but they denied it was theirs, right? Or they have said it's theirs, and then you'll get 20 different stories because it's a distractionary topic, right? So here it is. This is them supposedly retrieving parts of it, right? This is what we got. This is our evidence.
Yeah, so some shards of a balloon and a little bit of metal webbing, some sort of support structure. But where's all the electronics, and why would they shoot it down? Like you said, how come they wouldn't have just caught it like they do, retrieve it like they do all the other balloons?
It's ridiculous. Like, it takes somebody 5 minutes to do research. Have they ever retrieved balloons? Yes, they've been retrieving balloons for 60 years from the sky without damaging the stuff, right? But no, this one they got to blow up. It's because it's a hoax. That's how they do it. So then we've had this commercial here at the Super Bowl, right? So I'm going to get ready with the sound. I don't know if it's going to be too loud or too quiet, but let's watch. If you guys might have missed this one, check this propaganda out.
An unidentified object has been spotted over the sky.
That was it, right? So they played that during the Super Bowl.
Yeah, U2's coming back and they do this UFOs in the sky crap.
Right? I mean, we're just bringing it out. We're documenting this for the audience to witness with us, to witness reality, and we're just going to keep moving on. I only got 2 more. So this one says that the Chinese balloon carried antennas and other equipment to gather intelligence. I didn't see any intelligence gathering or any equipment. I just saw a hoax But let's just watch this real quick. I'm going to zoom in. I'll translate what she says. This is the lady in China. Here she comes. She said explanations and insisted that an overreaction which China resolutely objects. We have stated that this is completely an isolated issue and an accidental incident caused by force of majeure. But the U.S. still hyped up the incident on purpose and even used force to launch an attack. She said, this is an unacceptable and irresponsible action. The U.S. shot down the balloon on Saturday off the coast of Carolinas. Here's them retrieving it. Amateur footage taken at the North Myrtle Beach showed a boat arriving with a large flat white object on deck. The Pentagon has confirmed that the object is the shot in question. Here it is. Comes the missile. China confirmed owning a second balloon that was also spotted flying above Colombia, right? So now we have balloons in South America too. As for the balloon in Latin America's sky, we have learned and verified that the relevant unmanned airship is from China too. And it is a civilian and it is used for flight tests. That's what she had to say about the balloon launch in China. That's what they're telling the Chinese people. And last but not least, a Chinese spy balloon was floating above the skies, they say, in Montana, where some of the US's, they say, nuclear weapons are stored. Get this. So apparently they were just seeing if they could fly over there, and then they were going to detonate, right, all the nuclear weapons stored there and then destroy the whole entire country, they think, right? And that's what they're trying to say here. 90% of the U.S. could die from the Chinese EMP space balloon attack. So that's the latest and the updates with all these going on with the balloons from my side of the desk.
Well, that was great. Absolutely great. So much nonsense. And we're going to go into some more of the debunks of it after a break. We had a comment from Esteban asking about the Pearl Harbor hoax. And there's a video on my channel, like Pearl Harbor debunked or exposed, that shows what Ronnie was talking about. There was like 26 different camera positions. There was no props on the planes in the footage that was supposedly taken from the planes. You can really see if you look back at the footage that it's really nonsensical. It's pretty bad. And yeah, so check out Pearl Harbor Exposed. That's on the channel. And
yeah, make sure you check it out, Esteban. Anybody else that hasn't seen it, Jason's got a great video up that you can actually see how fake. They had like 30 cameras set up for the surprise attack, right? And then when you look closely at the footage, it was all models. They used models. Some of the planes didn't even have props on them. You had Chinese people waving from their plane as they were flying in to bomb Pearl Harbor. It's just ridiculous. And most of all their hoaxes, when you actually introspect them, you just find nothing but nonsense. But anyways, you got the screen share. Again, this is going to be another song about balloons. This one I like too.
I don't know where we're meant to find. So purposeless. Someone turn a light on in order to see, and something around us, let's better us be. Now that you're with me in a rising balloon, I can hardly hide it. We are making it soon. And I don't know what we're supposed to find. So purposeless, so purposeless. And I don't know where we're meant to fly. So purposeless, so purposeless. All night, all day, some I got the fuel masked up, the balloon won't stop, and now the world's so
Yeah, we're great, man. Let's go. Everything's clear on my end. I don't see your mic going on in your setup here. You said she had a missed audio. Are you muted?
Yeah, I've been muted.
Okay. We should be back now. For how long? Well,
Probably the whole time I was talking.
I guess that I heard. So you guys might be a little delayed, but you can continue on going on here.
All right. Yeah, sort of a lackluster performance on my part tonight.
Oh, stop it. It's fine.
All
We're
right.
just documenting truth.
That's
all
it.
We're here to.
It's sort of a boring topic, but because it's getting so much attention right now, we decided that we would go through it and sort of point some of this out.
I got to do all the fun stuff anyways. But no, I'm paying attention. I've been listening to you the entire time. So let's continue to go back into this. Everybody should be able to hear now.
Yeah, so the F-22 is the plane that they say shot it down. Now, we've covered the U-2 spy plane, which is the highest flying plane, but it's not armed. It doesn't have weapons. So the military decided to say that the F-22 was the plane that shot it down. Now, we're going to take a look at a comparison between these two and see whether or not it's even realistic, because we are the jet fuel hoax guys. We're the ones that showed everybody that it's ridiculous to think that they can be carrying the amount of fuel that they're saying that they're carrying. So they're doing something other than internal combustion fuel, because it's just not practical when you start taking a look at some of this stuff. We're going to show you how unrealistic it is. So what I was saying is that 60,000 feet is the altitude that all the news outlets are saying that is the height that the balloon was at. And then I was just making the point here, if we're going to relate it to being able to see it. These hot air balloons are roughly the same size. A little different principle. It's not using helium. They're using heat to lift it up. But you can quickly see that with balloons roughly the same size, that within your circle of sight, as they get away from you, they become small quickly, very quickly. In fact, if you look at real footage of these balloon festivals, like they're becoming so small to the point where they're hard to see before they're below the clouds. Right? And then imagine if they were to fly these things up above the clouds. So one of the things that we can all test and see is, I'm sure you've been outside and looked up and saw the smallest little moving thing in the sky above you could possibly see. And what you're looking at is an airplane traveling overhead in probably the 35,000 foot range. And so this is really the limit that you're going to be able to see. And if you try to zoom in on it, even with some super zoom camera like the P900 or P1000, you're going to see that it's very blurred out. You're not going to be able to see any detail on it. And that's at 35,000 feet. So the size, even comparatively big things like this, as they go off in the distance, you're not going to be able to see them anymore. Now the U-2 spy plane, this has got some footage of what it's like to be up at these altitudes. So let's take a quick look at this airplane again. I want to show everybody the wings on this thing. So it's, you see it's got these little props here.
Training wheels, right?
Training wheels on the wings. So this thing has a massive wingspan.
It's a giant glider, right? With an engine.
It is a giant glider. So take a look at this. It's just got that one turbofan engine, and it's the lightest possible thing that you could build. Without these
training wheels.
Training wheels, these wings are bending over and touching the ground.
Yeah, they break. They can't have that. They have to race behind this thing so that they can get out before it stops and stick the training wheels under the wings.
All right, so this plane actually can go up really high, and we're going to take a look at what some of the footage looks like from up here.
But that flexibility also gives its ability to climb, right? Once it meets the resistance of the air, it makes this thing just sail. This is what, like 60 years old too. They're not new. It's still the best high altitude plane.
Well, and take a look at the suits on these guys. So when we're covering pressure, the pressure difference as you go up here, they get to almost zero pressure, and that becomes the limit. There's just no more air for those wings to lift off of, and they hit a point where they can't go any higher. So
no more altitude is reached, right?
Yeah, so here we are at cloud height, and we're going to keep going up. And so about here.
So we're at almost 29,000? Yep.
29,000 feet. All right, so look down. You can see these clouds down here. This is still relatively low. We're not even at the normal height of a regular commercial jet. They're going to be in the 35,000 foot range for cruising. And so this is below normal height, but you can see you're above the clouds. You can see just a wisp of a river and lakes down here. And now as we start going up, what you're going to end up seeing is that so this is low altitude here. You can see that we're actually in the cloud layer. Let's get up to,
it's about a foot higher than Jay's. That's why in level flight, I will be the highest person on Earth when we top out.
I don't know about that, bro.
It's a pretty view up here. Yes, it is.
I bet. This guy's lucky. Look at that.
All right, so now we're looking down. These are the clouds from up here, and the ground is becoming difficult to see. All right, but we're not as high as we're going to go yet.
It's better, too. It's very special. So I can see how you get a little hooked on this. Yeah, it's pretty darn special. Alright, so here's 45,000 feet. So we'll just continue to set new personal altitude records for you for the rest of the day.
Wow. Imagine.
All right, so 45,000 feet. This is really the top limit of commercial flights.
So hold on. I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody think that they could see a hot air balloon taken off from the ground from here?
Yeah. I hope you don't think so, because no. Even 35,000 feet, you see...
You can't even see a stadium.
Yeah. A commercial airplane flying overhead, 35,000 feet is maybe just noticeable, but the ones at 45,000 feet are now out of range for you to see.
Can't see it. And they're still climbing.
Still climbing. Here comes 50.
So there's 50,000 feet, or cabin altitude, so your body it's sitting at is at 24,000 feet, almost 25. So we'll gain over another 20,000 feet, but cabin altitude's going to be about another 5. Very comfortable right now. Yeah. Yeah, 59.2 passing 52.
So we're starting to get into the range.
You think they could see the plane from there?
Yeah, let's see some footage.
There we go.
All right, so now what you're seeing, these are the clouds down here. All right, these are clouds below you. So we're getting to the point now where from the ground, it's difficult to see an airplane up at 35,000 feet. It's going to be just as equally difficult for an airplane up at this altitude to see a commercial airline at 35,000 feet.
So hold on. So what you're suggesting is if we were looking down now to try to find a commercial airliner, 747, flying through the sky, they can't see it either now. They've gone out of the circle of sight or field of view of the plane that's at 35,000 feet.
Well, the distance to it is enough that its angular size has become so small that you're not going to be able to spot an airplane flying around from up here.
Outside of your field of view. Like in a 3D modeling program, when you zoom in or out, you lose the view of the object. So again, Jason's pointing out that you cannot see a balloon. You can't see a jumbo jet below you at 35,000 feet, let alone from the ground seeing this spy plane. The people believing the balloon thing, that they filmed it with their cell phones, are believing that they're able to film a spy plane 60,000 feet above the earth. 70,000 feet now we're at, right?
Yeah, so we're at the 60,000 foot range right now where the balloon was supposed to be. And we're double the height of the clouds. We're barely going to be able to see a commercial airliner flying underneath. And the ground is just haze, right? There's absolutely nothing discernible on the ground anymore. So this whole spy narrative of you're going to send something up 60,000 feet and it's going to sit there and it's going to be able to watch everything on the ground. Well, you've never paid attention to how far you can actually see, how much you can zoom in on a thing.
Well, and great pointing out here. So if you can find one faulty lie in the narrative from the mainstream media and the government, it means the whole thing is a lie. And what we're putting forth as evidence is they ran the Psyop at an altitude where people could zoom in with their cell phones while stating that they were 60,000 feet in the air. And it's clearly debunked. Jason's exposed it beyond all exposing needs to show everybody that they're lying. Why are they lying? That is the bigger question. What is the distraction for? And then my other point that I want to bring up, Jason, as you're moving to your next tab, right, is what do they call it? Atmospheric interference. So if you're trying to collect data and information, the further you are away, the harder it is going to be and the more powerful of the device that you need to collect said data. Right. So the way they actually do spying is devices mounted to the commercial airliners. That's their satellites. It always has been. Right. So all this other stuff where they're talking 60,000 feet, they only have like 100 people that can even fly up this high. Right. So the whole entire thing is one of the biggest psyops that I've seen. I'm going to turn it back to you now.
All right. So we're going to go back to some of the original balloon psyops. Felix Baumgartner. And
what? So Felix Baumgartner, the guy that flat earthers try to use as evidence that the earth is flat, which was an entire hoax, right? It was actually him jumping into a foam pit, green screened, right? The decals moved all around from different camera angles. It was exposed. But now you're saying that it was a helium balloon that took Felix up, and he went how high?
Oh, like 170,000 or something. It's
so he got way higher than the spy plane was, supposedly.
Yeah. So this is supposed to be the original stream of the whole thing.
Sorry, and the other debunk of Globe Earth was that he landed in the same spot roughly. If the Earth was spinning and he jumped from that height, he would have been landing on the other side of the U.S.
So they show the balloon, they show the crane,
the capsule,
and then all of a sudden, boom, it's up. And so then they do put an altimeter with it, and right away they're calling this 90,000 feet right here.
Wow!
Right
away. Wow.
Yeah, like watch.
That's fast.
Goes from earlier today, all of a sudden, boom, 90,000 feet.
Now we're back out live. Now
we're back out live. So they're saying that this is live, and that's 90,000 feet right there.
What kind of camera has he got? This must be Wide Awake's camera.
Must be. 30,000 feet higher than what we were just looking at. All right, so yeah, the Psyop started back this far. We can skip. I mean, look at some of these shots at 95,000 feet. They're showing
the decal there, zenith. It changes its position. Sometimes it's on the right side of the door.
Yeah, but they're still showing the balloon like this. There's 105,000 feet. All right,
That's
this
amazing.
is. He said it's a live shot.
It would be so inflated at that point. It'd be huge.
107,000 feet. Now they can zoom in even closer at 116,000 feet.
How are they parallel with it? That's my question. How are they able to look at it level?
You're not supposed to think like that, brother.
I mean, I can't help it. I'm a curious kind of guy.
127,000. They've got.
Now it's inflated. They got that part right.
Oh.
Damn, these cameras they got for Red Bull are amazing.
128,000.
Wow.
No, at least at this point, they don't continue to show it from the ground, right?
CGI now. CGI.
They might as well because, here they've got it at 127,000 feet here, but now it's not in color anymore. Now it's black and white.
It's too high to see color.
Yeah, so this is where it all began, and they wanted people to actually believe that you could see 118,000 feet. All right, see a little capsule. But this is really bad nonsense. So regarding these planes, we've got the F-22. This is a huge article. I'm going to have to do some scrolling here because I want to get to the specs on this plane and the fuel tanks. It's part of the issue here. Trying to get to their specs.
The 22 can fly for a really long time.
I mean, it's a powerful jet. I'll give you that. It's an amazing machine. But if we compare this, let's see. This has been updated. On February 4th, the F-22 of the 1st Fighter Wing shot down an alleged Chinese spy balloon. Fired one Sidewinder air-to-air missile at the balloon from an altitude of 58,000 feet, destroying the balloon.
58,000 feet.
Yeah, they're saying this plane went to 58,000 feet. So
people filmed it with their cell phones, right?
Yeah. It doesn't work, people. It does not work. So, just trying to get to the specs. Here we go. So, it's a one-seater. The plane is 62 feet long, 44 feet wide. Wing area of 840 square feet. That these are stubby little wings here. All right, little stubby wings. Now this thing's got excuse me, a lot of power. It's got two big engines on it with a lot of thrust. Those are turbofans. And let's see here. Where's its fuel capacity? They say that this plane takes 18,000 pounds. 18,000 pounds of fuel.
That's a lot. 18 tons almost, huh?
9 tons. 9 tons.
9 tons, excuse me.
Yeah, 18,000 pounds. So I've got a F350 dually diesel. It weighs like 6,000 pounds. So they're saying 3 of my trucks, that amount of weight is what they're pouring into this thing. So I want to this is the whole jet fuel hoax thing. The pounds per gallon of jet fuel, they say, is 6.75 pounds per gallon. And that means that if we've got 18,000 pounds, let's bring up the calculator. 18,000 divided by 6.75. You got 2,666. Always the number is working out like that, right? Of course. But so this 2,666, this is gallons. Gallons. This is the volume now.
That's a lot. How many can a tanker hold again?
Well, I want people to visualize. So here's a bladder for storing water. So storage bladder. This is 1,000-gallon bladder, and take a look at this thing. I mean, it's good size bladder right there. That's 1,000. So you would need 2.5 of these. Here's another way to visualize it.
A good example of it, because you can't really get there. Still, you can't. You need a person in the picture so you can see how big that actually is.
Yeah, it's hard to see, but this is
more shots of it.
The amount of gallons, right, of fuel. If this would be 18,000 pounds filled up with fuel, and then to see what these planes can actually do.
On a plane that flies straight up into the air, it can do loop-de-loops, upside down, backwards, corkscrews. Swishing all this liquid around inside of it.
Exactly. But let's take a look at that U2 real quickly. So here's that super glider style that it has. Now, one of the things that I noticed on it is, so here's the spy plane. Before they were supposedly using balloons, right? They were using the U2. So it says existing cameras had ground resolution down to 23 feet from an altitude of 33,000 feet. So what that means is that at 33,000 feet, each pixel was an area 23 feet in size. So that's a ground resolution, 23 feet from an altitude of 33,000 feet. You're in an airplane at 33,000 feet, and you're using the cameras of the day, and each 23-foot radius would be like a pixel. So
so a balloon it gives us a good relative understanding with how far and what we can actually see. So you actually think that this is accurate?
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah. And people need to understand the pixel size. It's a little complicated, but I mean, for any flat earthers that have been around Red's rhetoric, they like to use the pixel. So I'm sure that tuning in people, they do understand what you're saying.
Yeah, so initial missions were flown with the Trimtogon A camera consisting of 3 24-inch focal length. So these are the numbers that we're familiar with. 610 millimeter. Now the P1000 is a 3,000 millimeter focal length. 3,000. So they were using in the U2 spy plane a focal length of 610. This is not much at all. Cameras with an f8 resolving 60 lines per millimeter, and the ground resolution can be inferred by the calculation of the 24 inches. This was followed by the B camera with a 36-inch focal length, 910 millimeters. This is still just 1/3 what a P1000 can do. And so it was a panoramic camera which took pictures of an extremely large area of the Earth's surface. The lens design consisted of a spheric singlet lens. 6,000 foot reels of film were used. So this is all being, yes.
6,000 foot reel to capture it all. So one quick caveat is we believe the map that we use was actually created from them flying over with these devices and filming the ground and then stitching those together to form the map that we share.
Yeah, so this is all being done on film, not like digital. The tech, right? So really, from the altitude of 70,000 feet, you can't make anything out on the ground. You can't. Nor from the ground can you make out something 70,000 foot high. Now this plane, we've seen the evidence that it can actually fly pretty high, but you got to have that special suit too, otherwise you'll start to boil because of the lack of pressure, actually. So you know how water boils at lower temperatures the higher you go? So your body will actually boil due to the lack of pressure up at these altitudes.
Yeah, it's dangerous. It's like worse than the bends, you know.
I'm just looking for the specs on this
That's
thing.
why we laugh when we talk about sending Elon Musk to Mars on his rocket, because we know exactly what's going to happen. And so does Elon.
These articles are long. All right, get into the specs.
People, plane nerds, they love this stuff.
Yeah.
It's a cool plane. I wish I had one. I'd definitely like to try and go up and look at things myself.
Yeah, so this thing's got a wingspan of 103 feet.
Way longer wingspan than the F-22.
1,000 square feet of wing. And, yeah, it says 2,950 U.S. gallons. I really don't think that they're carrying that kind of weight with them. I think they've got other techniques.
That's not in the wings. We know it's not in the wings because they can barely keep the wings from snapping off when it's just on the ground. And when it lands empty.
I want to show people where they say that the fuel tanks are in the F-22. So here's a picture of it. And they actually say that the wings in this thing are fuel tanks. Even these back ailerons, they say that these, the orange is supposed to be they fill these things with
those are filled
jet fuel.
So what would happen if you shot any of these spots with a bullet? I mean, this was got to be one of the most retarded things I've ever heard.
Yeah, these are the
thing is blow upable with one bullet.
Here's the extra fuel tanks that they use, and then they just drop them.
They just
drop them. Yeah,
they don't need those.
Nope. Yeah. So this F-22, even though it's a very powerful plane, the thrust that it has, it can push itself up very high just because of the raw power that it has. But it's not, it doesn't have enough wingspan, and it's too heavy to be able to go up to the 58,000 foot range.
But the plane that they used to say that they shot the balloon down with their Sidewinder missile can't even fly at the altitude that they say that the balloon was at.
No way. And these guys aren't set up the way the U-2 guys are with that serious pressure suit, right?
They're so retarded. Well, how can they not plan their psyops better? You know, why didn't they have the balloon come down like the one in Canada at 20,000 feet? Then people could get away with it. Why do they do this? I question, do they make it retarded so that when they're held accountable, they can say, well, we made sure that everybody could see that it was retarded. If you didn't figure it out, you deserve to get what you get. That's what they're going to say.
So here's the video that they made showing off the F-22 shooting down the spy balloon.
Subscribe button and engage.
Let's go back here and check.
Last sonic boom upwards thing. And people love their plane porn, right? It's just ridiculous. These things could be used for so much.
A Chinese high-altitude spy balloon entered U.S. airspace and gained nationwide attention last week. This balloon journeyed across the Pacific, entering Alaskan airspace on January 28th, passing through Canadian airspace on January 30th.
They're using your font, bro.
And reaching the U.S. on
They are copying.
January 31st. As it was being monitored over the U.S., the armed forces decided not to shoot it down due to concerns about falling debris. For several days, the Department of Defense attempted to clarify how a surveillance device belonging to its primary competitor entered and remained in U.S. airspace. Facing growing concerns, the U.S. questioned China about the balloon, leading China to assert ownership, but later claim it as a stray weather balloon. The U.S. then countered that it was actually a surveillance balloon with an onboard instrumentation payload.
I mean, that sounds so serious. Instrumentation payload, right? Electronics?
This led the U.S. military and NASA to investigate wind and debris patterns in order to provide the White House with advice on whether to shoot down the balloon over land or water. The recommendation was to wait until the balloon drifted over the Atlantic, during which time the Air Force used to plan the shoot down. Of the aircraft in the U.S. inventory, the F-22 Raptor was selected as the shooter since it could fly at extremely high altitudes and speeds. More on that in a moment.
See, it's the high altitudes and speeds. It's an incredible plane, but it's not...
The spy balloon.
Well, and the other thing is missiles are a Psyop too. I mean, that's something that we've been covering for a long time. That you can't just put a rocket engine on the end of a stick and expect it to fly straight. Doesn't work like that.
Speculation suggests that it carried advanced ground-penetrating radar instrumentation. This technology would be more effective compared to satellites, as satellites operate at much...
All right, so here's the nonsense of satellites, that you're supposed to be up here hundreds or thousands of miles above Earth, and that it's going to be spying on you. You can clearly see that there's no spying going on because of weather patterns. I mean, plus the fact that we've never been this high, and it's not a ball, right?
Much higher altitudes and have more atmospheric interference to contend with. This theory makes sense since the balloon was observed flying over Montana, where the U.S. Air Force operates ballistic missile fields in a large portion of that state. These fields are from the 341st.
Just Psyop after Psyop reinforcing the missiles, reinforcing the nukes. It's all CGI. This is all they have.
The next Sidewinder missile was used. At the time of the shootdown, the balloon was at an altitude of between 60 to 65,000 feet. When the lead Raptor took...
We've already determined that you're not going to see that, and then everybody's got the footage of it from the ground, right?
Yeah, and their cell phones.
See what else we got here. So it's being called the Sputnik moment by some. You've got this whole balloon. I can't believe that we're talking about balloons right now. We're getting ready for
this Psyop. I saw this clip. Unbelievable. It's all political, right? Everybody's using it. I had to close out links dealing with, Biden's crew came out and said there was balloons also when Trump was president, and then they debunked that, saying that wasn't true, and then they're saying there's balloons all the time now, right? Just walking through, is this the White House?
Yeah.
Some government building with their balloon. It's just so retarded. But it is 2023, and they're using this now. It's UFOs are coming, right? They're coming out saying, the American people have nothing to worry about these objects being UFOs or aliens. They made that statement at the White House as well. What do you got to say about the alien agenda?
Yeah, well, we've been talking about it ever since we started, with Flat Earth. There is no such thing as aliens. There are demons, and so people can see stuff. Demons do manifest to people, but Earth's not a planet. There's no solar system that these people, aliens are traveling here, and
interdimensional, right? That's actually what it is. So It was who Aleister Crowley did some stupid satanic ritual thing, and then aliens show up, right? That's what happens. They're putrefying to look at. They're gross. But yeah, you got more. Keep it going.
So, they're talking about how we know the PRC used these balloons for surveillance. High-resolution imagery from the U-2 flybys revealed that the high-altitude balloon was capable of conducting signals intelligence collection operations. And signals intelligence refers to information that is gathered by electronic means, things like communications and radars. Why don't they just say communications and radars?
It was like those antennas that hold up your old satellites. Or no, they weren't even satellites. Remember those things we used to have? The antennas up the side of the house with the antenna at the top? That's all that was floating underneath that thing. There was no radar, LiDAR equipment. I didn't see anything on that. It was a prop. What are these people trying to say?
Yeah, well, in the U-2 spy plane, we showed has cameras like a third the zoom capacity of a P-1000, and these planes are traveling like 700 miles an hour. So you think this plane flew past the balloon 700 miles an hour with a camera worse than the P-1000 and got some high-resolution imagery, right?
Yeah, that's what they did, right? But they didn't have any of these communication things on that balloon. We looked at it. It was like a I said an antenna hanging on the bottom of it. That's it.
Yep.
We're gonna all hail the aerospace people now. Like, no, we're not gonna hail them. This is nonsense. The whole thing is a fake sage psyop.
Yeah, this is one of the more recent ones where it was supposed to be at 40,000 feet. What about this? Are you familiar with the green lasers? Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I think I've heard a little bit about it.
Experts believe Chinese satellite fired green lasers over Hawaii.
No, I haven't heard this.
Yep. Space experts at tweeted January 30th captured green laser lights in the cloudy sky over Hawaii.
Remote sensing altimeter satellites. Come on with this nonsense.
Yeah, so they issued a correction on YouTube that specified the laser beams weren't from a U.S. spacecraft, but the most likely candidate was the Chinese satellite.
Wow.
So this is
in outer space now.
The green lasers.
Man, if the sky starts doing this, they are going to try to pull this got to be the alien. Are they going to pull the alien card? We're going to pull it.
They're saying green lasers.
Green laser. Contrast enhanced. Wow. That just goes through the sky like that.
Yeah, look at this.
Wow. You're putting it out on YouTube. Is this from China too? We're in China now?
It's supposed to be from Hawaii.
Hawaii, okay.
Yeah.
That's Hawaiian, not Chinese.
All right, so you had covered this one. What we got here? So what it takes to build a balloon for 100,000 feet? All right, great question. So we've got we'll get Baumgartner referenced in this article. How high can balloons go? So take a look at this picture, everybody. If you think that you can see something at 60,000 feet like this, you've been smoking too much crack.
Or whatever it is that makes you imagine things.
Yeah, so they talk about their record lengths of time that these in the Project Loon balloons. So Loon's fleet of balloons carrying a communications technology that would allow mobile coverage in remote and disaster-affected areas were designed to operate at a height of 62,000 to 82,000 feet. So this is a normal operating range for high-altitude balloons, but guess what? You can't see them. It says that's twice as high as most airliners fly at. And so it talks about what they can carry. But here's some interesting stuff that this might interest you. So if spying's their game, sensors are cameras for observing the ground below them. It's a challenging environment to design equipment for. This guy says, designing electronics for a balloon is a lot like designing electronics for a spacecraft. The atmosphere at just 90,000 feet is about 1%. It's 1% density it is here. It gets very cold up there. We'll get down to minus 112 degrees Fahrenheit. But what's amusing and interesting is that typically speaking, when people design electronics for the stratosphere, they actually have more trouble keeping it cool than keeping it warm because there's next to no air up there. So you can't blow a fan across the heatsink to move thermals out. So think about a CPU up at 90,000 feet. It's minus 112 degrees, and the CPU is going to overheat because you can't cool it off because you can't blow on it because there's no air.
There's no air, so it doesn't have any radiation properties.
Yeah, you can't. You can put a fan on the CPU. It's 112 below 0 Fahrenheit, and there's no air to move it. So it's going to heat up and burn up. Yeah. So that's the problem that you run into at 90,000 feet. No more air. Right? There's the reason why you don't have an airplane that goes to 90,000 feet.
Unless it's a gliding type one.
Well, There's not enough air at 90,000 feet to...
Not 90, no.
Yeah.
65.
So this right here seems like it would make way more sense to be a spy balloon. Have a nice clear, right?
It's dark at night. It's blue in the day. It's everything that you want. It's clear every day, you know? Come on. They're going to use a spy balloon. They're going to make it white so that you can see it in the day and the nighttime. The easiest.
So
stupid.
Talking about that same not being able to cool things off, you're also going to have the same problem with moving it, right? What are you supposed to do? Have some fans on it to blow it around, move, nothing to thrust off of. So you can't really move it around when you get up. You have to bring it down into lower levels where the air is moving to move it.
By letting out helium. That's how they do it. They rise and lower them in altitude, and they do all these other crazy things.
I mean, isn't there a link with AI?
Yeah, that was the next one. So
okay,
the Project Loon, how Google's balloons surprise their creator.
This is great.
Yeah, so algorithms using artificial intelligence are discovering unexpected tricks to solve problems that astonish their developers. So
wow, they're astonished.
Yeah. So they were talking about how they didn't know what it was doing. It was only later that they realized what was happening. Unexpectedly, the AI on board the balloon had learned to recreate an ancient sailing technique first developed by humans centuries, if not thousands of years ago. Tacking.
That is hilarious.
The AI figured it out, but the people that
zagging so that you
created the
straight wind.
The guys that created the AI couldn't figure that out. They're baffled.
They were baffled. They didn't have it already tacking.
Oh, AI. So you can actually listen to the moment by moment shoot down of so they've got the audio of Frank 01 and Frank 02, the F-22 pilots.
These are the guys that were shooting it down, doing the ritual for that other guy.
Yeah, so this is supposed to be military stuff, but then at the same time they give you the full transcript of the shoot down audio.
They just want it public for everybody to see that they're open and fair, or that they're honest.
Yeah. So somewhere in here they give the explanation of some guy was able to record the military audio, but right? You shouldn't be able to listen to military audio.
Not safe.
All right. So the question: why we're suddenly spotting spy balloons? Well, I think it goes real deep because obviously we can't see this high. But why are they putting all these stories of spy balloons on the air right now? So, they talk about how many balloons are usually floating over the U.S. and who is keeping track of them. It says here, for instance, nearly 100 Weather Service sites release balloons twice a day to measure things like temperature and humidity. So, supposedly there's lots of balloons going up all the time, but how come it is that nobody's ever seen one of these things before? Right? It's because you can't see them. Not when they get up. Watch a balloon go up into the air and see where it disappears. It doesn't have to be that high.
Below the clouds sometimes.
Yeah. So you've heard about the octagonal balloon, right?
Yeah.
The UFO. So this is exactly. Yep. Here's your octagonal. This is like the rods and yeah.
Come on,
the scrolls.
Yep, the scrolls.
Okay, it's got a GoPro on it. What's that gonna do? What is this thing for? Like,
yeah, that's their surveillance.
Oh, that's high tech right there. It's just a GoPro.
All right, so this is what you were talking about earlier.
Oh, you do have a link. Good job.
Yeah, the ability to catch this stuff.
Yeah, it's super easy.
So they would fly with a plane like this. I think that's something like a C-130. And they just put a big old lasso out like this, fly across it, and it grabs it, and then they just winch it back into the back cargo bay.
Done.
And captured.
Nothing destroyed. Right? If it was real and they wanted to actually capture it, they would have done it with this thing. Right?
So this guy mentioned that they should have just grabbed it out of the sky like during the Corona program. And the Corona program, turns out, and we've heard this word used for other things too, but the Corona program was a series of American strategic reconnaissance satellites. So they were actually just Sataloons.
Sataloon.
Yep.
Or Rockaloon or whatever. They got so many funny names. But there it is again. What is this? It's in black and white. It's so old. Is this name 1957? They were able to do this? Capture it in the air?
Yeah. Yep, this is what they were doing long before we were born.
But they forgot how to do it in 2023, right? This all-important Chinese spy balloon. They just blow the thing up in the sky.
Well, the AI figured out how to do it now. Tacking.
Yeah, the AI tacked it. Yeah, they do it that way.
And so here's the nonsense. This is from even like 5 years ago, and this is what I'm worried we're just going to continue to see a ton of, is people that put out this kind of Psyop material. So here's a guy, of course, comments turned off. UFO, star in daylight, no helium balloons, yes, with the naked eye, looked like a bright star, maybe a UFO. But when I cropped in on the Nikon D7200 Sigma 5500 lens images, it was stellar. So this is a 50 millimeter to 500 millimeter lens. Still, the P1000's a 3000 millimeter lens. So this has got just a fraction of the zoom capability, and you got
Spain, middle of January, and there's like a star in the middle of the day, 1 o'clock.
Oh, zoom. Oh, there.
I mean, what is that?
And so it drifts out here. He's not tracking it. This is
He's not moving the camera.
No.
Cutting.
It's cutting.
It's so ridiculous.
And then it jumps, and then it pauses. Helium balloons can go 30,000 feet up. I mean, what is... So we're just going to constantly be seeing people zooming in on a little white dot saying that that's some balloon 60,000 or 90,000 feet up, and we're supposed to believe them. And now the current headlines is satellite images are revealing Chinese balloon bases.
Balloon bases now.
Yeah, so
whoa.
Scroll through here and you can see that they've got a launch pad. That was crazy.
Is that from the balloon that they captured that picture from?
Here, look at this.
He's got balloons. Is that a Zeppelin?
Yeah, it's a Zeppelin. A little.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Isn't that cute?
That's awesome.
I've seen one of these on the Texas border when I went out west. Just tethered up on the ground.
The only time I've seen one is, they do have these tethered. They use it for the football games, right? They fly over the stadium with a camera.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little hut below that. They should bring that type of air travel back again. It's too bad they take away everything that's good. You know how fun it would be to travel for like a week on one of these with a giant ass, hotel on the bottom of it? That'd be so much fun.
Yeah.
That's what get to look at the Earth. Go ahead.
That's what I had for tabs tonight.
Great. The key talking points here that I took from your presentation was that there's no way that they shot the balloon down at that height. Right? It's impossible. We showed you it's like double the height of anything that an airplane can go. Right?
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to see it from the ground, that's for sure.
So they ran the Psyop much lower, and even Wikipedia is now updating, showing you that they're promoting that it happened. So it's their Psyop and it's debunked. Just in that And pretty much that was what your presentation was showing, and you did a great job.
Oh, thank you, brother. Yeah, we wanted to talk about the balloon Psyop, and we'll see where it goes. I have a feeling that it's probably going to progress. We'll hear more.
Right? China. Trump. This is all for Trump. We know where it's going. Trump's going to come back. I'm going to fix China, he's going to say, right? We know where it's going. But don't go away. We still have one more good song, and it's also about balloons, too.
Yeah, well, so we got a Wednesday night hangout in this week. There's a good chance that there's probably going to be maybe a Friday and a Sunday as well. So
we'll see.
We'll see how it goes. But it's been great. It was nice to go live with you tonight, brother.
Yeah, man, I enjoyed it. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you, YD, especially for all your hard work and help. And also shout out to the Estonian connection. And yeah, so don't leave. There's one more good song. And yeah, great night tonight, brother. Where did everybody hear this?
Only on the Awake Souls channel.
I've been watching my childhood on old tapes from the past. I remember the young mood, but we grew up too fast. We were playing as soldiers, making swords out of pens. Oh, we used to be closer. Things were better back then. There were no monsters. There were no moon. There were no monsters. Still I'm chasing balloons. We were living in castles as two space astronauts. It was us against dragons, and together we fought. We were hunting for treasures, flying ships to the moon. We were planning adventures like the guys in cartoons. There were no monsters. There were no